Hey, what's happening, MGTOW? Welcome back. So, let's have a talk about going abroad to find women, right? Because, as many of you know already, I'm from another country, right? And, I hear a lot of talk in the manosphere lately about, going overseas. Go overseas, these women here in the United States are crazy. Let's, the laws are against you, this and that and the other, right? And so a lot of guys are thinking, well, if I don't date here, I can stack up my money and I can bounce. I can get the hell out of here, you know. And if I go to Thailand, if I go to the Philippines, if I go to Colombia, the Dominican Republic, uh, I can find somebody there. I can satisfy my needs in a safer way. And you know, there's no escape. There really is no escape. No escape in this situation. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? In one word, I'm going to tell you why. It's called gynocentrism. You see? You can go to the Dominican Republic, right? And, true, so there are some conditions in that country, right? Or in Colombia, or in the Far East somewhere, right? That are not as harmful to men, right? But you have to keep in mind, number one, why those conditions exist, okay? And they exist because these countries are underdeveloped for the most part, right? That is economically underdeveloped. Not that the people are stupid, but simply that they haven't had the opportunity to build the country in the way that is that places have been built in the West and in some other countries in the East. So there you are, you arrive to one of these countries expecting to get out the airport and start getting laid right away, and you soon discover that things are not they're not the way that that they painted them over here. Some guy in the YouTube channel, anybody can put up a video saying, if you just get your passport and hop on the plane, all your all your wishes will come true. And it's a lot more complicated than that. You land someplace and you don't know the area and you don't know the language, you can't communicate, you may have a hard time getting laid. Now, I say you may have a hard time. I didn't say you will. And the reason why is because, hey, when I first came to the United States, my first girlfriend was a white woman. Her name was Tammy. And, I didn't speak English and Tammy didn't speak Spanish. But, we did everything we had to do. She was my girlfriend, I was her boyfriend, and we knew, with body language, we knew, I knew how she was feeling and she knew how I was feeling, And then, of course, her friends would translate for her sometimes, and I would chop off my English and kind of, talk to her and get my point across. But then I had the mindset, back then I had the mindset of someone who, who was more traditional, right? And so, even her friends would want me at that point simply because of the mindset that I brought into the relationship. And that showed in my body language, and that benefited me. So it's possible that you can go over and and have a good time in a different country, right? But if you go out there, a simp here in the United States is gonna be a simp anywhere else, So if you go overseas with the mindset of you're gonna simp, the women are gonna smell you from a mile away, and they're gonna know what you're about, and it's going to be hard for you to pick up the beliefs and the attitudes of the local men that have managed to keep those women within that traditional setting. The other thing is that you know, again, this traditional setting that you're gonna find yourself in, you know, because that's what most of these countries are in right now. They're in a traditional setting, right? The woman stays home, the guys work, right, and they bring the veggies home, right? So you go into this traditional setting, you know, not really fully understanding it, and understanding what it is that is expected of a man. You see, in many of these places, it's expected that the man will take care of the women. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel comfortable, you know, babysitting a grown adult. Yeah, these women can cook, they will clean, they will be submissive, you know, but they're women, you know. I mean, there's nothing wrong if you're trying to get laid, but they are hypergamous, as anyone else can be, and I mean, just let's think about it for a second. There's a guy here in the manosphere, and I'm sure there are many more, but there's one guy I can think of in particular, and I'm not gonna name him, but you know, he's gone overseas several times serving as a United States you know, serviceman in the military, and he married a foreign woman from the Far East, and you know, as far east as you can get, right, and as far east as you can go, and it turned out that you know, she was just a woman, right, and she ended up acting like a woman. So the other, you know, and he's one of the most active men here in the manosphere, and I have a lot of respect for this guy. He's a tried and true red pill brother here in the manosphere. So you know, he knows who he is. So, but he's not the only one. There are many men who have gone overseas, you know, married women from, you know, from abroad, and you know, for the most part, they're kind of satisfied, right? And some are not. But you're gonna, you know, regardless of that, you're gonna be expected to fall into that traditional setting, right? You know, because in a traditional setting, it's a more formal thing. You're expected to be more formal, right? You gotta keep in mind, it's kind of odd already that that the woman in that setting is choosing to marry a foreigner. So you know, what exactly is going to happen, right? If she brings you around her family members, right, they're going to expect her to make sure that you're going to take care of her, you see. So that violates the first rule of our philosophy here, right? Other than, of course, you know, not being gynocentric, the pillars of the MGTOW philosophy, you'll be violating them right away, right? You're gonna be expected to get married after a period of time in which, you know, you court this woman. And so it's a trap. It's a trap. And you know, if you ask any guy that's been married, you know, for a long period of time, and you know, marriages, you know, long-term marriages are, you know, are becoming a thing of the past. So these guys are harder to, you know, to find on a daily basis, right? But if you ask any guy that's been married for a long time, you know, he'll tell you that, you know, most likely he'll tell you it's not worth it. You know, I mean, there are a few guys out here that, you know, they're like, oh yeah, I found a woman that was just like my mother and she treats me like a king and this and that. But for the most part, you know, guys are not satisfied in long marriages. So, to make a long story short, you know, going overseas is just not worth it. It's not worth it. Also, I'm not saying the American people. Again, please listen to me carefully. I'm not saying the American people, but the American government has done a lot of dirt overseas And so, you know, that may be something that you'll have to overcome. See, there are places in which Americans are simply not welcomed, you know, because, you know, this country has brought democracy, right? Or they have brought civilization to those places, or they had, or some other idea, right? That they came up with. So keep that in mind too. You know, it's not all roses. It's not all rainbows and unicorns and sunshine. You know, it's and then of course, you know, you're gonna be far away from what you know, from your family, from your, you know, your friends that are actual friends that you made here in the United States, people that have, you know, a common you know, common things with you, right? Things in common with you, right? You know, the way you eat, the way you speak, right? Your culture, you know, your traditions, whatever those traditions may be. So you're asking for a whole new way of life, you know. And I say, yeah, I mean, would you go overseas? I myself think about going overseas sometimes, but I'm fully aware of the fact that it's not as simple as a lot of these guys make it out to be. It takes some adjusting, you know, some adjustments. It takes knowing the culture, the people, their history, right? Learning a little bit of the language, right? Learning the layout of the land, right? And then you can start, you know, talking to people here and there, and trying to see what you can do about, you know, dating women. But to go to a different country and just, you know, jump in the cold water like that, you know, you got to be careful about that. You really do. So anyways, short video here. And oh yeah, I have to say, you know, there's been some discord in the manosphere lately. And you know, when I put out a video, I try my very best to make sure that, you know, my videos help out some guy out there, you know. So if you wanna, you know, if there's some of you out here that said, you know, you're gonna debunk my videos or whatever, you know, go ahead and try it. I mean, for the most part, I think I can handle it, you know. I can handle it. It's not a matter of, you know, coming onto this platform and flattering yourself. You know, it's a matter of, you know, thinking that there's a guy out here, you know, or there are hundreds of guys, you know, guys as we speak, maybe more, that you know, right now they don't have their shoelaces on. You know, they've been taken from them, and you know, their hands are cuffed behind their backs, right? Some of us here in the manosphere have been through that. So, you know, we gotta keep those guys in mind when you put out a video, you know. Even if it's not the very best, you know, philosophical video, you gotta keep your audience in mind, because if not, then, you know, what are we doing, right? I've lost subscribers in the past, you know, for being what I am. But the only reason why I've lost subscribers is because I'm not willing to change that aspect of me, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But other than that, you know, I try to put out videos out here that help men out. So I hope that if you're a content producer, you try and do the same. You know, try and do the same. Try and keep it so that it's drama free. You know, leave the drama to Facebook. You know, this is you know, YouTube, for what it is. It's also a learning platform. So, and the guys come here to find out about female nature, so they can improve their lives. So that's all I'm gonna say for that, you know, about that right now. But anyways, I thank you again for watching. I thank all my new subscribers. It's always a pleasure to produce a video for you. And I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.